Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or for those with significant Gemini placements. There may be a message in here for you. So Gemini, to get started, I'm getting a couple of different messages. So first is that you're getting a crystal today. I haven't had a crystal come into a reading in a long time. This is hematite. So I'm going to read the description for hematite from the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. Okay. So it says hematite is particularly effective at grounding and protecting. It harmonizes mind, body, and spirit. Used during out-of-body journeying, it protects the soul and grounds it back into the body. The stone has a strong yang element and balances the meridians, redressing yin imbalances. It dissolves negativity and prevents negative energies from entering the aura, restoring peace and harmony to the body. Hematite is said to be beneficial for legal situations. Psychologically, hematite is strong. It supports timid women, boosts self-esteem and survivability, enhances willpower and reliability, and imparts confidence. This stone removes self-limitations and aids expansion. It is a useful stone for overcoming compulsions and addictions. Hematite brings attention to the unfulfilled desires that are driving life. It treats overeating, smoking, and any form of overindulgence. Hematite helps you to come to terms with mistakes and to accept them as learning experiences rather than disasters. It has a powerful connection with blood. It restores, strengthens, and regulates the blood supply. It can draw heat from the body. Yeah, it has a very strong iron component, so there's this Mars energy that's coming through with this stone, especially because Mars is in retrograde right now. And it also helps with like physical pain. So I don't know if maybe you are dealing with anything that came up in that description. Okay, there was another energy that I was getting where there's something about like, okay, this feels like a metaphor, but like if you have an allergy to something, if you have like an allergy, like a food allergy, and of course there's like different levels of like allergic reaction sort of intensity. And there's something here about like maybe there's something about like there's an allergen in your environment, but it's not in your actual food, if that makes sense. So, but depending on how sensitive you are to this allergen, you could have a big response or maybe just a minor one. I don't know. But there's something here about like maybe there's some sort of allergen. It's coming through as emotional, like water realm energy, where there's some sort of allergen, something that you are allergic to, metaphorically. It's not good for you, that kind of thing. It causes a reaction maybe in some way. It could be like an emotional trigger or something like that. That is perhaps in your environment, but it's not in your food, right? It's like it's been prepared in the same kitchen, that kind of thing. So there's a potential for contamination in your food, or there's like traces of it in your food, but it's not actually it, like the ingredient itself is not in your food. I don't know. There's something about that that's coming through. It feels like an emotional allergen, something that may be causing like an emotional response. And it's kind of just like because it's been prepared in the same kitchen, that kind of thing. I don't know how that's going to come through for you, if that's like just, I don't know if that's just the message or if that has something tied in with the rest of the message. So I'm going to pull cards. I'm starting with the Archetypes deck. The Creator. I love that. Okay. I was also getting this, I was being reminded of another Gemini reading. I think I did like a month or two ago. I'll link it above. It has something to do about the desert is transforming you. So I'll leave that there. But the creator, I'm going to pull 2 more. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. The Venom, the Temple, and Anima Mundi. Okay. So this is the allergen, right? The thing that you're allergic to in whatever way. The Anima Mundi card, though, talks about, well, it's another card about creation, creativity. And you have the warrior at the bottom of the deck. The Anima Mundi card is about accepting all. Okay, so the soul of the world, all that is. Anima Mundi epitomizes the principle, accept all, reject none. Simply put, it is the living soul of the world and all its multifaceted, multidimensional layers, bonded together by loving cosmic forces. Diversity is celebrated, multiplicity is honored, and nothing is denied embrace. Constructs of separation dissipate into the wonderful mess of shared consciousness. Anima Mundi is the link between the literal and the imaginal, the rational and the mythic. It is the connective fiber that makes life meaningful. This card indicates an initiation on the level of the soul. You will awaken the unique light within and witness how this light contributes to the radiance of the entire universe. You will sense yourself as a critical note in the cosmic orchestra. Destiny is altered as you hear the enchanted melody of all living things. So when light, tending to the sacred details of life. When dark, overwhelmed by the bigness of existence, go deeper. Alchemical drawings of Anima Mundi. Okay, anyways, so the Venom, though, is coming in with this energy of, like, accepting a venom. Interesting. Because it's like with this, the Anima Mundi, and with the creator, it's coming through as being, like, creating something using the venom in some way. Like, so it could be some sort of, like, transmutational process, right? You're turning, because I'm getting a very strong, like, energy from the movie / book Dune. I haven't watched part 2, but anyways, in the book part, at least, in the book, the first book, there's a part in, like, the second half, I think, where the main character's mother, she's like a high priestess kind of energy. In order to, like, reach the next level of initiation for her mystic gifts, let's call it, she ingests venom. And part of how she reaches the next level of initiation is that she transforms the venom within herself into something that won't harm her. So maybe you're working with something like that, Gemini, where it's like there's a so-called allergen in your environment, whatever that is, feels very much like emotional, and it's almost like having to use that in some way and transform it into something that won't harm you is how it's coming through. Like, so it could be, especially with, like, the word trigger was coming through, there may be something of, like, maybe you're feeling triggered by something emotionally. Okay, and it's kind of like part of the healing process is coming through as being like, how do you transform that into something that will no longer trigger you or no longer harm you, that kind of thing. So I'm going to read the Venom card. It says, the poison, the curse, and the toxin. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships, thoughts, speech, or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon dioxide, and the plants return it to us as oxygen. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily. However, it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and to the world. When the venom card appears, there is a harmful substance in our psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second. The remedy will reveal itself in time, and with it, forgiveness. Yeah, okay. So there's some sort of harmful substance in the environment in some way. It is possible to transmute it. That's what the message is coming through with, though. But Gemini, I feel like it has something to do with this creator archetype, right? Like you have to create something out of it. I'm going to read that one. I'm trying to think of an example of this, but okay. So it says the artist, the alchemist, the innovator. The creator, the first archetype in the trio of existence, is not intimidated by darkness or by lack. They know that from the void, creation inevitably emerges. With meager, minimal, and outlandish materials, the creator reveals a new image. They make the empty room resonate with healing sounds. They generate bounty from the seed that others tossed away. Though generative, this archetype annihilates preconceived notions of what is possible, leaving unexpected openings in the wake of its destruction. The creator does this by first being absolutely present to what is, not imagining or wishing things were different, and second, trusting that a force greater than themselves awaits constant collaboration with each human soul. Whether we call it nature, God, goddess, Shakti, or divinity, it remains nameless. It is the creator's lifelong companion. Okay. Okay, so there's a line on the side here. It says, to increase your creator energy, ward off jadedness at all costs, recommit to childlike curiosity, and nix the rules. Interesting. The temple talks about, oh, hold on. Okay, the temple talks about, like, something that is sacred. I feel like there's, or like your connection to spirit. That's how I see the temple. So maybe you're connecting to spirit with this like creator energy. The Anima Mundi card is really emphasizing to like accept all, because I feel like there's something about this venom energy that's actually helping you in some way. I know that that sounds kind of contradictory, but there's a card in this deck that is called Inner Conflict Resolution, which talks about a venomous snake kind of energy where the venom actually builds up like small doses of venom, right? Small doses of venom builds up resistance to it, right? So it becomes something where we become like stronger because we've, you know, dealt with like small doses of venom, especially with like allergies. Like if you have like a not severe allergy, you can expose yourself daily to that allergen, and then it becomes over time something that doesn't cause a reaction anymore. You know, in theory, I feel like, or something about like when you're a young child, like children who grow up in the country, for example, have less allergens because as children they're exposed to more like dirt and germs and stuff like that. Like I'm thinking of people who have like grown up on farms, have very little allergies compared to people who grow up in the city. There's something like that coming in for you. So the venom, in this case, it feels like something where it's actually helping you to develop like a resistance to something harmful, is how it's coming through. There's something about like a creative process though that I feel like is connected to something that's sacred to you. The camel. That's definitely a card about resilience as well. Because the camel to me is like the temperance energy. It's a balance of fire and water, but it's also something about like, because the camel lives in the desert, right? It's a fiery environment, and that desert energy again. It's a fiery environment, but the camel has all the water that it needs in order to survive the desert, right? So there's something about like, maybe you're in a metaphorical desert kind of energy, or there's like something about the environment for you that's not beneficial to, I don't know, like your health or something like that. Okay, camel. Resourceful, independent, and knows oneself. The camel can handle absolutely anything, as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. This wondrous creature is self-reliant and handles challenge with ease. Even in the face of excess heat, judgment, or anger, the camel searches inside for the cool elixir of water to calm the situation. The camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water, and being responsible for one's own reactions. Yeah. The camel is a wonderful traveler and is especially fond of trips to faraway lands. When in balance, calm, content, and sparkle in eye. When out of balance, dehydrated, lacks vitality. To bring into balance, a pilgrimage. Yeah, Gemini. There's definitely something in your environment that's challenging, is just the word that I'm going to use. You have turtle at the bottom of the deck. The warrior at the bottom of this deck is coming through with like being like, maybe you're feeling like you have to fight something. Like it's kind of coming through as like 5 of Wands. Maybe there's something of like the environment is challenging in some way. It could be with the fire. It could be like anger or judgment. Doesn't quite feel like that though. Because it almost feels watery to me, the Venom. It's not fiery, it's watery. It's kind of coming through as being like I don't know, I'm getting something like old pipes. Like if you have like water that's been sitting in old pipes and then you turn on the tap and so the water is quote unquote contaminated by the pipes that it's been sitting in. That kind of thing. That's how it's coming through. So it doesn't feel fiery for you, whatever the venom in. It doesn't feel like anger or judgment. It feels like something more subtle than that. Like stagnant water is how it's feeling. So now it's kind of coming in with like 4 of Cups energy. Like, Oh, interesting. Luothas the Wild. And, okay, Luothas and the Venom card came out at the bottom of the deck of, what reading was that? Was it Virgo? I can't remember. I'll link it above, though, because that may have a message in there for you. I can't remember if it was Virgo. It was one of the earth signs, I think. Anyways, interesting, because this is okay, it's not coming out in reverse today for you, Gemini, which is good. I feel like this is something about a creative creative fire, which is interesting. Because, okay, there was a line, okay, in that reading, I can't remember what sign it was, but I'll link it. Luathas came out with the sort of reversed energy where it was destructive fire, where there was like cruelty and injustice in that reading, where I feel like there was something about like having to transmute that, and the message that came through with Luathas the Wild is that you can't fight cruelty with more cruelty, right? You can't fight injustice with more injustice. You have to find a way to, if there is cruelty or injustice that has to be destroyed, it has to be done in a way that's like compassionate and loving, right? Because you can't correct a wrongdoing with more wrongdoing, right? It's that kind of energy. So I feel like there's something there about that. But Luatha is coming out. It's really interesting that those cards would come through. Because I feel like it's not in reverse for you today, which is interesting. Okay. Because it says haste, impulsiveness, fire, spontaneity, and balance. This card says that wild creative energies are being brought to whatever position it represents in the card layout. It often fires up the things that surround it, represented by other cards, energizing them as well. It tells us that it is important to think and act creatively, and it says that the energy to do so is available. New approaches are called for here. Old ideas and old behaviors will not do it. Sometimes it may be useful to draw another card, I will do that, about what those new ideas might be. Alternatively, Luathas may be telling you to go for something now. For example, another member of our Oracle discussion group was at a convention, and a man was demonstrating electronic devices. She was not particularly interested in them, but he and she talked about the different meters and tools for a while. She started to walk away, and then she thought, no, I've got to do this. She went back and told him, I don't think I'll ever forgive myself if I don't tell you I think I'm in love with you. They've been happily married for many years now. Sometimes it is important to take the risk of making a fool of yourself to gain something amazing and wonderful and miraculous. Sometimes when Luatha says go for it now, it is important to do so, and sometimes it isn't. If the only reason for caution is that you're afraid of looking silly, it probably is time to go for it. Remember then that you need to keep an eye on Luathas. Don't let him have control of your schedule or the accelerator in your car. He always thinks going faster and taking chances is better, and sometimes he is even right. Use sense and stay grounded even when he takes you off on a flight of fancy, okay? This is coming through very positive for you, Gemini, because I feel like maybe there's something that you are being cautious about. Yeah, fire of creativity and compassion is how it's coming through. I feel like maybe you're being encouraged to go for something. To like it, but it comes through with like creative fire, right? Like there's some sort of like, I don't know if it's a project or something like that that you're being encouraged to go for. I'm gonna pull another card to interesting though. It's really interesting that Venom card came out again with this Luathas. Yeah, the Unity card. The Unity card. Yeah. Go for it, Gemini. Whatever it is, it's time to do something. It's time to do something. Fairy who's kissed by the pixies at the bottom of the deck. This is a card about love. Maybe it is kind of like that example. Maybe you're being encouraged to like shoot your shot is how it's coming through. Like to maybe to tell someone how you feel, or it doesn't have to be that. That's an example. But it kind of feels like, okay, I'm going to read the Unity description. Okay, when this card comes up in a reading, it is asking us to remember the mystical concept that we are all one, unified in a holistic universe. It reminds us to look at the needs and goals we have in common with others and to seek cooperation and community action rather than attempting to do everything on our own. To achieve our goals, we need the active cooperation of others, and to get that cooperation, we must be helpful to them and willing to work with their ideas as well as our own. It suggests that we think of things in terms of equal partnerships rather than in lines of hierarchical authority. Unity also tells us that we have much to gain by remembering our own wholeness. Resolution of inner conflict is often necessary before we move ahead. It is important at this time that we work towards cooperation and reconciliation within and without. Seek the highest good of all involved and not merely your idea of highest good. Ask for the divine energy of unity to permeate and guide you. Okay. So there's this energy of cooperation here. Perhaps like you're cooperating with another, or like working in a group or working with others to like nullify a venom is how it's coming through. Because that description also had something about inner conflict resolution, which was something that I mentioned earlier in that other deck. There's a card that says that. So perhaps you are working through some inner conflict. You're resolving some sort of inner conflict that may have to do with sort of like a venom, right? Like in metaphorical terms, like there's an allergy. You have an allergy to something. So it's causing this sort of reaction that is not like one that is yours. It feels kind of like it's kind of like, it's like you've been drinking water from the stagnant pipes, right? You don't want to do that. But like maybe that caused some sort of like inner conflict kind of energy. So it's not like, okay, anyways, I'm just going to leave that there. So there is this sort of energy of like purification coming in, like through creative fire. That's how it's coming through. Like, so it could be, it's coming through very strongly with like sacral chakra energy, but also just like paying attention to what it is that you are allowing into your emotional waters is how it's coming through. But I feel like collaboration right now is collaborations right now are being strengthened, is what I just heard. They're being strengthened. A connection is being strengthened. It is favorable to work with others at the moment on a creative project, it feels like. But there may be part of the venom may actually be sort of like this energy of like not wanting to work with others, maybe for whatever reason. Yeah, okay, interesting. I'm gonna keep pulling cards. It's too many. Okay, what else does Gemini need to know? I feel like there's something about like flushing out the venom. Like removing it, right? Like flushing it out, right? If you have like the old pipes for whatever, like whatever that is, like metaphorically, it's like flushing out the stagnant water. So there's something here about flushing something out, but it feels like, I don't know why it's coming. So Luathas is coming through as creative fire today. It's very fiery. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so you have 3 cards that came out. Water, Ocean, Star. I'm going to read this one. Then you have Physical and Power, which which is interesting. And then you have sky, snow, moon at the bottom of the deck. The physical card that's in the center. So it's highlighting your physical environment, your physical body, your physical manifestations, right? It's 10 of Pentacles energy for this. So things that you have already created, things that are in your environment at the moment, everything that you have to work with. Maybe there's something of like, I don't know. I keep getting something about like the pipes, like making sure everything in your house is working properly. I don't know, something like that. That could be metaphor as well. Might not be literal, but anyways, I'm gonna read Water, Ocean, Star. We live in a beautiful and abundant ecosystem of symbiotic interdependence. Generosity is a fundamental law of this planet. The more we give, the more life can sustain itself, which creates more life, which creates more abundance, which creates greater and greater realms of majesty in which we get to play. When you give of yourself with kindness, you inspire and enrich the lives of others as well as yourself. Giving creates a natural energetic flow that ripples out into the community and the world at large. Every act of generosity is a way of remembering our interconnectivity and our oneness, like the drop of rain falling from the sky, returning home to the ocean, like the star in the sky that exists to remind us that we ourselves are made of stardust and that anything and everything is possible. Interesting. Okay. With this warrior card, I feel like at the bottom of the deck, I feel like there's something of like your resilience that you're giving to others in whatever way. Like it's kind of like I'm seeing you as being like someone who is coming through with a very positive Luothas energy of like because this is coming out underneath the power card. Like part of your power is this like creative battery pack kind of energy, Gemini. It's almost like you're lending your battery to other people is how it's coming through. Because the power card talks about, I'm going to read that one. I don't know, maybe there's something physical that you're creating. It's feeling very much like you're working on something. But there's a venom. And I feel like the venom is being flushed out is how it's coming through. I keep hearing stagnant water. That's just what it's feeling like. Okay. And of course, stagnant water is like a breeding ground for like mosquitoes and things like that. So it's like the water has to be running. It's coming through with this energy of flow, right? Like a creative flow that's necessary in order to flush out the venom. Okay, so the power card ties into the theme of discernment because the journey of power is all about learning to differentiate between false power and true power. True power serves what is best for others in order for them to adapt and evolve, expand, grow, and amplify. It is the ability to lift people up and to show them what is possible. True power is vulnerable, open, and transparent. It supports that which makes a difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of many. When people or institutions try to impose their will onto other beings, or to enslave them or infuse them with fear, lack, or division, that, my dear, is false power. That is straight up misuse of power, and true power will not bow down to that shit. When this card appears in your spread, you know the spirits are offering insight into your own personal journey in the realms of power and are inviting you to refine your discernment accordingly. Okay. I feel like maybe Gemini, either in the past or perhaps right now, you may be seeing examples of false power, which is coming through as like this Luothas energy in reverse with the Venom card, because I'm going to link that reading. I don't remember what sign it was, but it was talking about sort of like cruelty, which is passion gone sour, or like something where it's like trying to impose one's will onto another person, using quote unquote power to control other people or to like manipulate is also how it's coming through, especially with that emotional energy. Or like being really aggressive in order to get one's way, like that kind of energy. I feel like maybe you're seeing an example of this happening in some area of your life. And I feel like your challenge, maybe, I don't know, maybe something about this situation is getting you to connect with your true power in order to help uplift maybe those who are being oppressed in whatever way, or like, I don't know. It's coming through with this unity card because I feel like it's something about cooperation and unification rather than division. So I feel like you're being asked to like collaborate with others, to help other people. I feel like there is something about like an inner conflict though with that for whatever reason. It could have to do with the water ocean star, which is talking about generosity, right? Like giving as a way to create more abundance. So maybe there's a bit of especially with this hematite energy that's coming through. Maybe there's something physical. I don't know. It's coming through with like very grounded energy, especially with Luathis the Wild. It's like you need to ground to that energy. It needs to be grounded or else it can be sort of like out of control. But you have the camel, which is very grounded. Interesting. I'm going to pull one card from this deck just to close it. I feel like you're going to be creating something in the physical environment in whatever way. Like you're going to be working with like physical resources in order to create something that I feel like is going to like uplift other people is how it's coming through. This feels kind of like a big reading, Gemini. It's kind of coming through a bit with like a wounded healer kind of energy, like Chiron. So maybe you have Gemini and Chiron or something like that. It doesn't have to be, or whatever your Chiron placement is, that's like the energy that you're being asked to work with. Because maybe there's something about like maybe you have a particular immunity to something, Gemini. Like you are immune to the venom. And so, but maybe you learned how to do that. It might not be something that's innate. Maybe it's something that you learned. So it's like, if it's something that you learned, you can help to teach others how to also become immune to this venom. It's coming through like that. Okay. Quantum Jump is your card. Grasshopper. In physics, it is understood that a quantum particle breaks down to the smallest particles that create the fabric of reality. A quantum particle is every version of itself at once. Yet when the particle is observed, it becomes the version of itself that is reacting to the observer's consciousness. This also applies to humans. In layman's terms, we are every version of ourselves, but our consciousness dictates what version of ourselves we choose to be. Grasshopper's medicine jumps into your cards today and asks you to quantum jump into the highest version of yourself. You do this by assuming the identity and emotion of the self you want to be. It is in you to be the most fantastic version of you. You just need to jump into it. Stand up straight, fix your posture, wake up early to pray, meditate, and move. Eat foods that the most amazing version of you would eat. Dress the way the highest version of yourself dresses. Work like the version of you that you respect. Treat people the way the highest version of you treats people. Take action towards goals in the same way that the version of you who is making big wins would take. Start loving yourself the way the version of you who is in love with themselves would treat themselves. This card says that you can no longer identify with being a victim to circumstance. You are powerful, and you create your own reality. Grasshopper's medicine asks you to choose to be the version of yourself that feels the most fulfilling right now. What you've been chasing this entire time is within you. Jump into the you that actualizes their potential. Yeah. This is a reading about your power, Gemini. I feel like you're being asked to like jump into the version of you that is the most empowered in whatever way that is. So I feel like there's something about the Venom energy may have been something that caused you to lose power in whatever way, right? It's disempowering. It's something that it could be something about like a narrative, right? Like a story that you tell yourself that is disempowering, like having a victim mentality about something. And so I feel like there's something about like, maybe there's something that you want to create, but it doesn't quite feel possible to you yet. And this card is saying it's possible. It is possible. You already are the version of yourself that you see in this world, but it's kind of like you have to act like it. You have to act like that is how it's coming through. You have to act and be the version of yourself that you want to be. And that takes power, Gemini, okay? I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.